Hello, Whoa, I need to keep my head right here. Look at the sun. Oh gosh, I'm going to blind people. Okay, hello everyone that has joined me, joined Bloom and Chiza. This is just a breaking news update. Now, one big thing that's happened today that I just basically want to dive into just a little bit, and that is officially Disney is thinking about making a super app that will have everything on it. That means movies, getting into Disneyland or Disney World, the Disney Cruise Line, all made into one app. I don't know if this is going to go well. Um, it's a cool idea, and then it will be able to cross-platform some things here and there if to keep your information for one, and number two, hopefully maybe earn points, some kind of point system that you can use later on, something like that. It might be pretty cool. Um, I don't know if they say anything about a point program, but at least have it so everything is in one app. That might be interesting to think about. Let's dive into it. Okay, so a bunch of people have made these articles today for the last few hours, and I went with what looks to be Disney Tourist blog. It seems to be the most in depth. I'll be reading this article, showing it with you at the same time. That way, we can both read it. I might have to have your comments thrown in here afterwards for the comments because this is a big article. This is a big thing happening. Let's see if this goes through. Um, Here we go. Now, won't be able to see chat. It's just so everyone knows. Disney wants to break silos via super app for theme parks, cruises, streaming, movies, and more. So, TV shows also. It's able to have all of this using one app, a circular pattern. Disney is exploring a super app to break silos and unify Walt Disney World, Disneyland, DCL, as well as streaming services, movies, merchandise, and more. So shopping also. According to reporting by Bloomberg. Here's the latest among with our community about what's old and new again initiative. Attempting to make his mark on the company to make good on his One Disney promise, the new CEO, Josh D'Amaro, wants to break silos with this company and simplify how customers interact with its brand. The plan is to launch a new super app that will combine Disney Plus with My Disney Experience, Disneyland app, Disney Cruise Line Navigator, Disney Shopping, and more. International conventions about the so called super app are on an early stage, and no concrete steps have been taken towards developing the product, according to Bloomberg sources. The report also indicates that the super app has been at the center of the international presentations and indicate that the direction of D'Amaro sees the company's direct to consumer business evolving. Okay. Disney has many apps. Each and every app that they make, it is harder to figure out what other app you need for Disney. And is periodically revisited whenever to combine them. Past ambitions to do so have been never gained traction due to logical setbacks. Disney has currently working on merging its Hulu online video platform with Disney Plus, but has faced obstacles due to the separate tech infrastructure and programming rights. Longtime fan recall the dearly departed CEO Bob Chapek mulling over membership programs akin to Amazon Prime. Those plans were nixed as part of the last last cost-cutting cycle and discussed in Disney laying off 7,000 employees, canceling Metaverse and Prime program plans. Shortly after the other Bob Iger, returned as CEO. Iger has likewise considered a unified app for more than a decade. So this has been on the back burner for a very long time. Oh, look at that. Disney Wish. Yeah. Okay. That Disney Prime program, as it was being called internally, had the goal of keeping consumers in the Disney ecosystem longer, which would likely be achieved by offering more value for the money, points that you can get for doing things separately in the app. This would in turn get people to spend more money on the company's products and services. It would also provide Disney with a treasure trove of data, consumer analytics, and other information about the preferences. Worth noting that historically, Disney has a weak track record of putting consumer data to use, as much of it is more like to be Disney is not a tech company. Disney abandoned the Disney Prime effort, and it was spearheaded by Chapek, who was vocal internally and publicly about the opportunity for Disney to do more cross-sell to customers. I'm going to hold. No one is in the comments. Just making sure. Nice photo of Disney with a bunch of clouds. Yay! Okay. And then this is their idea. And this is I would like more than one opinion. That is mainly the big article that Disney put out, but this is not from Disney. This is a Disney Tourist blog, which has been around for a long time. Let's see what they have to say. Turning to commentary. This is from the Disney Tourist blog. Their view on the Super app is that it is roughly a stupid idea. It feels very much like a solution in search of a problem, but that prepurses that will actually end up with a solution when all said is done. When all said and done. As someone who uses uses a lot of Disney apps, this is the type of thing that sounds good in theory, but probably would less so imperceptive. The existing apps are already bloated and buggy, and I don't see how adding more to that would improve anything. More importantly, there would be a lot of different back-end system that would need to be integrated, and that would probably not be free to do. Greater choice, flexibility, and fun just for you. Yes, that was the Genie app. Not very popular during its heyday. How does I see this actually playing out is Disney investing a ton of resources on a super app for the next 8 months or whatever, and scrapping the plans as part of another cost-cutting initiative, in that Wall Street is having nothing to show for it. That is not even the worst case outcome, though. Another possibility is that Disney invested a ton of resources on developing a super app for the next 14 months, releases it, and then fails to gain traction because consumers do not actually want to need a combined app for theme parks, streaming, shopping. So once again, a ton of money is wasted, and this is not the worst case outcome. That would be the twist on the above scenario, with Disney spending even more time and money on the super app, releasing it prematurely while it's still glitchy and forcing it on consumers in order to manufacture a successful launch of the super app. Yeah, it's showing more Disney Genie. That is the latest app that they tried to shove down our throats. An app that would basically try to integrate and try to pick different rides that you should go on to. Yes, it had preferences, they never worked. The preferences were basically ignored in that app. Yes, people argue about that, and they say they did work. They didn't work. I've tried many times. To each their own, but I've seen this movie before and already know how it ends. Just at Walt Disney World, there was a next gen initiative, My Magic Plus, or the Disney Genie. And then there was Genie. Yeah, My Magic Plus. Oh, I forgot about My Magic Plus. Anyway, and then there was Genie, which was originally going to be a standalone app for Walt Disney World pre-COVID. Then there was Genie, the app within the app, which barely worked at launch despite a ton of being invested into it. I'm very pleased with the My Disney seamless login that launched a couple of years ago and works better across the separate apps. I feel like Disney should just take the win there and not try to force further integration, especially when these apps are all performing very disparate tasks, serving different audiences. No, they're not. It's all the same audience, really, in a way. A streaming app does not need to be a theme park app, etc. The separate, specialized apps make sense. They are exactly what consumers would expect to see if these businesses units were owned and operated by distant companies, as opposed to one behemoth. Even Apple, Amazon, Meta have separate apps for different product offerings. Day for thrill seekers, the royal treatment. Yeah, that didn't work. I'm skeptical of the so-called super app and would attempt to do these things on the first place and eliminate the need for separate apps. Excuse my skepticism, but given that I still can't make a park reservation within the park apps 6 years later, it feels warranted. I'm guessing the super app is actually more of a synergy play, reminiscence of the membership program being delivered under JPEG. That actually might be the best case scenario, as a loyalty or membership program is something I'd actually like to see from Disney. This is one of those rare times I'd say that Chapek fella had a good idea. File under even a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while. Okay. Yeah, that was one of his good things. Theme park tickets and reservations. Okay. We are all they are all an Amazon Prime household, purchasing exclusively from the online juggernaut, who is also watching a lot of streaming services, listening to their music, taking advantage of the in-store discounts at Whole Foods, and other value ads that the subscription offers. I've been an Amazon Prime member since my May 2009 and have never once thought about canceling. Although very different from Amazon Prime, we are both members of the various airline and hotel rewards programs. Each of us has had a status with Hyatt, Hilton, Marriott, Delta, United, and Southwest at various times of the decade, thanks to a mix of credit cards and usage. Little tiny gifts. Yeah. Our experiences are with these have been fantastic. We regularly receive upgrades, rewards, and superior service. And all of the other programs offer something of substance, an art craft deployed to just juice spending. I'm sure they do that too, because of course they do. But there's a certain quid pro that makes the dynamic feel rewarding. We also have gone through a number of credit cards that, on their on own way, are very similar to a loyalty membership program. Two of our favorite cards are the Chase Sapphire Reserve and the American Express Platinum. Both offer a wealth of perks and benefits beyond just reward points, including airport lounge status, statement credits, free activities, extended warranties, and exceptional customer support. All those cards, yeah. Back when it was first rumored, I was really hoping that the Disney Inspire card would be along the lines of Chase Sapphire Reserve or American Express Platinum. There's definitely a market in the type of product, and I think Disney is actually a bank is a lot more plausible than Disney is actually a tech company. Disney is a great money stuff, but terrible at technology. With its vast media footprint, Disney could offer something very similar to Amazon Prime, with perks and resorts business. And Disney could do something similar to hoteliers or airlines. Disney could also roll all of this into a credit card with something above and beyond the current Chase products. Could be a hybrid of the above, with Disney Plus serving as the foundation and other benefits following from that streaming service onto the facets of the company's media empire, parks, resorts, and beyond. We've already seen them dip their toes into the water with the Disney Plus Perks program, which I've never worked with. Fans of Disney World have long questioned why there was no rewards program. There was no free nights or room upgrades to loyal guests. About being the thing repeat visitors could hope for was bounce back offer. Those have been mostly gone for the last couple of years. Beyond that, regulars might find themselves targeted for a timeshare sales pitch, but that's about it. As someone who spends a ridiculous amount of time each year at Walt Disney World and Disneyland, he would love the company to throw me a bone every once in a while, or at least pretend my patronage is valued. Despite spending much less with the other hoteliers, airlines, all other hospitality companies are far more gracious and eager for the spending. That makes sense. Rewarding loyal customers is a good business. More likely, this is something that'll continue down the road as Disney as a service, with more digital media blended under the contract to consumer umbrella. As someone who doesn't really consume Disney's other media products, I do. I'm not really sure what this initials. Maybe comics, books, apps, music, games. Perhaps they'll introduce more seamless integration between consumer products and the direct to consumer businesses. My guess is that primarily we'll be improving the corporate synergies, increasing customer spending, and reducing the friction in the flywheel. Insert other corporate buzzwords as you see fit. I would also hazard a guess that it is the type of thing that sounds really good in the corporate world. Who doesn't like synergies and all the other fun buzzwords? But won't amount to anything in reality. Something is not going to break a $14,000 trip to Walt Disney World on a whim after watching the latest episode of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives on Hulu and deciding to brave the super app to see what else might interest them. The good news is that if Disney wants to achieve that type of synergy, the conduct for it already exists. It's called advertising and it's built into streaming apps. No need to spend a fortune trying to reinvent the flywheel. Perhaps I'm a pessimist. I don't think the contemporary Walt Disney Company has the vision, ambition, or experience or patience to create a super app. They could. They have a bigger umbrella now. The tone of those products sounds more clinical than normal, but in my defense, that is because I've seen more of this movie before. Not just with needless apps or superfluous energy synergy, but the chasing of the shiny new object. I've watched Disney wasted billions of dollars trying to make fetch happen, or lack of a better term, when they would have been better on focusing on the core com- compliances of doing something for substance. Disney is a creative company, so actually create something of value. Stop with the gimmicks that try to make revenue streams materialize in thin air. Wow. Okay. No one should understand this better than Josh D'Amaro. He's a theme parks guy, non derogatory, through and through. He has watched over the last decade as Disney had opportunities to invest in a new lands and attractions, which would have paid for themselves many times over, but decided to instead throw billions of dollars into the latest money pit. Josh should remember that he got this job because he's the theme parks guy, not despite that fact. And what's felt like a prolonged Black Swan event, Wall Street actually likes theme parks right now. Josh, if you want to make your mark on the Walt Disney Company, double down on that so-called turbocharged investment in the parks and resorts. It's a lot better than throwing it away in the so-called supercharged app that's not going to go anywhere. Need do. So that was their article and their idea and their comment. Yes, I would say before Disney integrated with, let's say, ABC and the thousands of other companies, it basically sucked into itself. It was not able to create a super app. But I think it should be able to now, because there is not just one person in the helm. Yes, there is. Listen to some of the other people's in helm. Ha. I would say listen to them. Listen to the people that were at one time. At one time, they were in charge of ABC, NBC. They were in charge of Star Wars in general, Pixar. You know, there is a company there. And just like Amazon has done, Amazon has created a conglomerate for online shopping. Why doesn't Disney put out like an app that dives into everything, but you do not have to use or download it? It's not a forced required app. It is an app you can use if you feel like using it. If it works, people will kind of, you know, look into it if someone promotes it, let's say. I could see something like this happening for Disney where they decide, hey, let's make a super app. In the good instance, like I said, it could give you incentives, bounce back, discounts off of your next trip because guess what? You just took a trip. Points, point value systems, and many others. Let's say the super app was able to, let's say, curate what rides you should go on to because of what movies you are watching that week. Interesting concept. Not anyone does that yet. So that's the concept. Maybe it's able to create some superfluous scavenger hunts in different lands. Disney World, Disneyland, Animal Kingdom, and all the rest. Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios. Breath goes on. Maybe it's able to integrate a lot of things into one. But the fact is that one could not be as popular as the others by themselves. This is their. And you know what? My Disney Experience app, yes, if it got updated a few years ago. It is a pretty good system. Half of the way, it's a system that works. What if they had an app that was able to connect to all the other apps and integrate that way? You're able to get into the Disney Experience app with the new app. But my Disney Experience app is still over there. It's still standalone. That's my idea. I don't know. I have high hopes that it could work. I hear the bickering that it probably won't work. So hopefully everyone does have a like, comments, and subscribe. Get in those comments. Whoa. What's your thoughts? Blumenchiesa is out of here.